Once the favorite energy booster for nobles, it has now become a trendy meat in an awkward position. Despite its huge popularity in ancient times, why does it rarely appear on our plates today? If we're talking about unique meats, one is donkey meat, and the other is venison. We've covered donkey meat before. As for venison, it is known for its tender texture, high lean meat content, and low fat, while being rich in phosphorus, zinc, and other minerals, making it both delicious and nutritious. But today, deer farms profit mostly from deer velvet and germplasm resources. The meat has instead become a mere byproduct. Far from being a daily staple, it is practically invisible in local markets, while farmed venison can legally be sold on the market. And breeding technology is advanced enough to meet any demand. Why can't it break into the mainstream? Hello everyone, I'm Kanchai. In today's video, let's take a deep dive into the story of venison. This is a Sika deer. It's no exaggeration to say that before the 19th century, the ancients truly treated it as a mobile pharmacy. The most famous part, deer velvet, was a prized companion to emperors and nobles, of course. Modern medicine has also confirmed the efficacy of deer velvet. It does contain the EGF-1 growth factor, though oral intake might be ineffective. In short, once a deer was caught, every single edible part of its body was utilized without waste. Even the tough bones and antlers were processed to the last drop. That final drop of vital essence would be infused into medicinal wine. To the ancient aristocracy, the deer was a symbol of longevity and wealth. Even a single bite was seen as a life-extending elixir, and it was widely hailed as the original men's gas station. As early as 168 BC, on a silk manuscript unearthed from a Han tomb, records of deer being used for medicinal purposes date back that far. However, hunting wild deer ultimately depends on luck. To ensure a steady supply, the ruling classes began enclosed deer farming early on, such as the Shanglin Garden of the Han dynasty and the Mulan Paddock of the Qing dynasty. They were kept for hunting and display, then slaughtered for their health benefits when needed. This Chinese obsession with deer has persisted right into the 21st century. Deer velvet goes without saying, but deer penis and deerbone wine remain premium products in the medicinal liquor market. But have you noticed venison is incredibly hard to find on the market, since every part of a deer from head to toe is considered a treasure, with everything from blood to organs in high demand? Why hasn't venison, the most abundant part, ever gone mainstream? Simply put, it boils down to three things: too costly to raise, too expensive to eat, and too wary to try. Think about it. Europeans once relied heavily on wild red deer as a primary meat source. If there were a way to mass produce deer and domesticate them like cattle or sheep, they would have popularized it globally long ago. But they haven't. What outsiders may not realize is that raising deer is actually harder than raising a child, because deer are solitary and territorial animals. Unlike livestock like cattle and sheep that are easy to herd, intensive farming is extremely difficult. To raise deer on a large scale, you need vast amounts of land. Plus, they are naturally skittish and high-strung. They'll jump fences at the slightest fright, forcing farms to spend extra on installing anti-collision glass. Furthermore, their feed formulas are far more sophisticated than those for pigs, cattle, or sheep. It requires a premium combo of alfalfa, Limus chinensis, and soybean meal, which costs significantly more. The most critical issue is that the dew's reproduction rate is abysmal: 1 litter and 1 fawn per year. In the same production cycle, a sow could easily produce 10 piglets, and as we mentioned before, venison is actually considered a byproduct by farmers. Just look at the common meat sources in the market. Pigs reproduce and fatten up quickly, while chickens multiply at an incredible rate, while cattle and sheep cost more to raise. Their dressing percentage and unit price are higher. The profit remains considerable. But deer are different. The most valuable part isn't the meat, it's the deer velvet. Sika deer are harvested twice a year for their velvet antlers. 1 Jin 500 can sell for 20 to 70 yuan. Farmers naturally want to keep them for years for sustainable harvesting. Who would bother killing them just for the meat? And even if you wait until the day of slaughter, the venison has become tough and stringy. Plus, deer are naturally low in fat and very lean. Combined with that gamey flavor, the taste isn't exactly great. Once consumers try it, they are disenchanted, making repeat purchases unlikely. Therefore, venison naturally became a niche, scarce meat. Before being placed on the protected list, the supply mainly came from hunting. It was highly seasonal and extremely limited in quantity. Later, even with the advent of deer farms, most remained small-scale and specialized. But looking at the global market, the deer industry might be better suited for a small but premium approach. Scarcity creates value. This principle is universal. In Europe, Venison is often more expensive than regular beef. It is sold as a high-end gourmet ingredient. Several large meat companies in New Zealand have made a fortune from venison slaughtering, processing, and exports. To many, venison is both unfamiliar and carries a certain psychological hurdle. The reason New Zealanders successfully broke into the market is that they nailed one thing: they found the right marketing angle, and then told a compelling story over and over again. Their most common trump card is health. Venison is lean, high in protein, and low in fat, with relatively low cholesterol, yet it's rich in iron and B vitamins. Perfect for those looking to lose fat, stay fit, or maintain a low-fat diet. They also work to dispel consumers' ethical concerns. New Zealand's deer are mostly grass-fed and raised in natural environments. The deer are raised humanely without hormone-induced fattening, so you can set your bleeding heart at ease. But regardless, even as public acceptance gradually increases, venison is not destined to become a cheap mass-market staple. Its target audience is the niche group willing to pay a premium for health, the environment, culture, and novelty. Whether it actually tastes good is almost secondary. Challenge for the industry is how to maintain this sense of exclusivity while ensuring enough sales to sustain upstream farms and supply chains. Of course, if you're truly curious about the taste, just open any e-commerce app, whether it's fresh or processed. Affordable listings are everywhere. There's no harm in buying some to try, but please lower your expectations. Perhaps after one bite you'll understand why this meat just can't seem to go mainstream. After all, in China, a world leader in culinary diversity, for any ingredient to make it big, relying on gimmicks alone is bound to fail.